So now I'm resuming the record. So this session will be available going forward. So what is the agenda for today? So we are going to talk about like how you learn the Python effectively. This is most important when you know the Python already. So resources for the Python learning. So we have so many ebooks, so many websites are there. But where is that I can learn Python in good way? So okay, after learning the Python, what is my role? That's most important thing. So learning Python is not going to give a value to your profile. And is it really good skill to learn, because there is so much is going on? Is it really hype the people are learning the Python, or else really there is something is happening? That we are going to talk about this. And you can also share your ideas and discussions. And the last concept is called coding minutes. There we are going to I'm going to demonstrate some coding, and you will get some idea like what we are doing with that coding and all. So that is basically like one automation project, very simple automation a project which I'm going to take you to the walkthrough. Then you will get an idea like how we are going to do it. Okay, let's quickly move on to the concept. Okay, so definitely this is the resources is very important. First, if you want to know the Python very well, the best source is always like LinkedIn. And yes, you have to create your profile in the LinkedIn. If you're already there, follow the very good resources. There are so many data science people, DevOps engineers, and even blockchain engineers. Okay, we have so many great profiles are there. Every day they will post, every minute you see there are so many posts is going in the LinkedIn. You just follow them. There are so many articles about these are the technologies with by using the Python. There are so many are there. You have to follow the right people on the internet. And the second thing is the GitHub. Why I want to use the GitHub? See, definitely if you want to become a good coder or good programmer, you have to use the GitHub. If you go to the good GitHub website and type something called Python programming language, you will see lot of sample codes, right? So I'm sure that if you're not using this GitHub, just go and log in and type something like, for example, you are like a DevOps engineer, type needs something called DevOps projects. If you are looking for something like automation Selenium projects will be there. If you want to like work on the artificial intelligence projects, just type there, you will get lot of projects. So there is the way like you can start looking at the projects. No need of going to the different sources. GitHub is the largest source for the projects. You can get the code from there itself. So that is where you can practice yourself. For example, sometimes if I want to work on any innovative things, I will look for the GitHub. GitHub is the great repository to get the source code. And also they will, some of the developers, they will give you step by step how to execute the each and every source code. And also online tutorials we have it. There are plenty of online tutorials is there. But if you are the beginner, just starts with only one online tutorial. Don't go with the multiple online tutorials. You will be confused a lot. So starts with one online tutorial, then go with the multiple online tutorials. So real Python is one of the great source for the to learn the Python, because it is already approved by the PSF, Python Software Foundation. Okay, which is actually supporting the real Python, because some people who working in the PSF, they are only writing the articles here. This is a great tool. Okay, great tutorial website. You just follow this one. And last is reading the white papers. Okay, don't ever miss out. Every day, at least every day, or like at least in a week, you read white papers from the different organizations, IBM, TCS, Infosys, and there are many companies are publishing the white papers. So reading the white paper will give you the idea what product or what problem I'm going to solve it. For example, you are in the like banking domain, go search the white papers on the banking domain using the, which is related to your AI, which is related to the DevOps, which is related to the any technology you are working on it. Okay, that's most important. Reading the white paper will give you the skill improvement. That don't miss ever, because that will give you the so much information, because you don't know how industries are looking forward you, right? Skill improvement is always important, but that can improve only when you understand the industries, what industry is looking forward. Okay, it's because we use the Python as a skill for the to do the business problem solutions. Okay, that's where. So the question comes, after learning the Python, where I can use. So you can know why Python is become very popular. Everybody, most of the people knows that it's because of technologies. So one of the most important thing area is called the data science. The people talk about that because of Python using the data sciences and to develop the web applications rapidly. Now no PHP, no other Ruby language. Now everybody is migrated to the Python because of robust development. We have the Django, Flask, many tools we have it, and we can use Python in the artificial intelligence, machine learning very rapidly. So main reason Python is become popular, like data science and artificial intelligence, these are playing very important role. And also augmented reality and DevOps. Yeah, nowadays you can see so many DevOps engineers are actually there. They are using the Python widely, right? Of course, they have so many options, but Python is the right choice to do it. Okay, because there are so many package systems are available. So Ansible, so there are so many are there. So Docker, Kubernetes, so many platforms they are using it directly. So we can use this widely in this. Not only this one, we can use Python in the blockchain, and we can use Python in the Internet of Things, which is actually a powerful language now because of using in these technologies. Just learning the Python won't give any value, guys. Okay, if you are the experienced people, don't just learn Python itself. Okay, learn Python how to use in the technologies, like how to use in these areas like data sciences, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, Internet of Things, blockchain, DevOps, and all. And the most important thing, Python got popularity in the automations. Nowadays, if you see any work in your projects, something which is manually doing, if you want to improve that work, definitely we can go for the automation concept. So Python automation will play very important role. And also Python using in the virtual reality. Of course, the Facebook and many companies are investing a lot money on the virtual reality. You can see there is a product from the Facebook called the Oculus. So which is actually they are using the combination of Python. Okay, they are using so many data science tools, and also they are using so many artificial intelligence tools to develop this one. So these are the main skills which I mentioned. There are so many skills, there are so many technologies. We have an example to say that 5G. 5G is going to be a very good skill going forward in the healthcare industries and the telecom industries. So you can also choose the like healthcare, 5G as the technology for your skills. So going forward, nobody will call you as a Java developer. Nobody will call you as like a Python developer. No, the people will call you, are you a blockchain engineer or not? Are you a DevOps engineer or not? Are you a artificial intelligence, machine learning engineer or not? Are you like a data scientist or not? So this is going to be a change, a big change in the world. You can also going forward see in the LinkedIn profiles, even in the Naukri, people will look for you like with the multiple skills. Nobody will look you like whether you know the Java, whether you know the Python, doesn't matter. Nobody will cares about you know the programming language or not. Already you know that last 3 4 years onwards, all everything is got changed. Now like everybody is talking about full stack engineer, full stack developer. Already change came, but going forward, it is my word. You just check that people will look for you. The profile is like a data scientist engineer or not, whether he is artificial intelligence engineer or not, DevOps engineer is not, or 5G engineer. So people look at you in the specialized knowledge, not on the just a programming language. So everything is got changed. You have to invest your time, especially on the learning the technologies, not learning the programming language. That's the reason learn the skills with respect to the technologies. Nowadays, if you can see in the Chinese government, in Japanese government, even Canadian government, US government, at the school stage only, the people they are introducing the concepts called the technologies. Now Python is there, even 8th class standard, a student also learning the Python. This doesn't mean like, okay, you are also learning the Python. Python is very simple to use and simple to learn. But the question is, where should I use the Python? That's most important question you can ask yourself. Okay, so we can use Python in these areas, which is most important thing. Okay, so learn the technologies. Okay, use the language in that. So how to use it, this is what I explained in the previous. We have to go with the GitHub sources, LinkedIn sources, and use some online tutorials, white papers. You understand where it is. For example, you already in the companies, you already working on the something called banking domain. You find a problem in your organizations, what problem is there, so try to provide a solution with these learnings. Okay, that's giving more value. Okay, so for example, you are into the telecom industry, see the problem what is there in your current project and talk to your managers. So this is the problem which I identified, that okay, I'm going to provide a solution with these technologies. So that's why we can enter into the skills. I can wrap up the skills. Okay, today is Python, tomorrow some other language will come, doesn't matter. So learning the technology is most important thing which I am always going to be focused. So do you have any questions before going to the code minutes? I will if you have any questions, any points you want to bring up the community, we can discuss much better. So there's basically whole idea is like we need to learn the technologies, not the language. So that is what my whole point which I'm trying to explain here. So do you have any questions, guys? Not only questions, any points you can throw to the community, that would be great actually.
Yeah, Raja, I would like to mention one point here. So usually whoever is working on Windows platform, so Python is kind of additional installation for the Windows platform, right? So that is one of the challenge we are facing in our current environment.
So you mean to say that you are facing some issues on the, I mean, when you are working on the creating the containers, something like that?
Not like that. So without our manager approval, we cannot install the Python in the environment, right?
Okay, is it you are saying that organization there is a restrictions on your Windows system? Is it something like that, or else like the
Yeah.
issue?
Yes.
Yeah, that is there in every organization. Even the organization which I work there, even I am facing the same
Yeah.
problem. Okay, so we
Yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
install the all Python related tools like pip install. If I use any tool, it is not allowing
Yep.
you install it. We are connecting to the normal internet and we are installing it. Yeah, it is
Correct.
something your company's administrators they should take the call, because still why I'm telling you that most of the companies they want technologies to be developed, but they are not really allowing you to use the Python in widely. Okay, but it is going to be
Correct.
happening because of obviously if you want to work on the AI DevOps or something rapidly, just to finish the project within the less than 6 months, definitely we
Mm-hmm.
need to depending on the Python only, because when you go to the Java or like different technologies, it will take a lot of time because of there are no libraries are available. So that's one of the main reason we need to go for the Python only. So to answer your question, yes, we need to be check with the management like why this is not allowed and all. That is like organizational decision. It's not something universally we can look forward.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Anything you can talk. So it's not only the questions. If you want to share, like how you want to this dev sprint, how you want to conduct us this dev sprint. So I want everyone to be contribute here. If you are doing something on even small code, also you are writing very small Fibonacci series also. If you want to share it to the key team, it just every Sunday we can come together. We will share this one. Okay, I think going forward, a lot of people is going to be joined. Many guests will come these sessions. I think we'll do something interesting. Okay. So, any questions,
Uh,
guys, from
Raja,
anyone?
Raja,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah, is while using Python, we can able to develop UA environment. So yeah, we can able to develop an efficient UA environment. Then so is having any additional advantage using Python for UI development compared to other UI development languages like Angular and React.js?
Yeah, yeah, that's great question actually. So Python using only for the backend frameworks. We cannot use completely for user interfaces. For example, when you talk about React.js, AngularJS, even Vue.js, these are all actually front-end JavaScript frameworks. Of course, they use the base is the JavaScript. But when you talk about the Python web frameworks like Django, Flask, even Bottle, Pyramid, different frameworks we have it, but those will act as a backend in the sense it will directly interact with the databases and larger applications we can build it. So assume that there is a case when you are building a big project. So for example, you are using Android, iOS for the apps, and the front end React.js. For the back end you can use Python and Django, so Python Django application. Then you can create web service calls to interact with this UI user interface like React and also Android. One web service is enough to interact with the these three interfaces, like one is iOS, Android, and web applications. This is how now real-time applications they are building up. So for example, no Raja, my application is very small thing. So how can I do it? So we don't need React.js. We don't need any AngularJS. Just simply you can use the Python web framework Django, which is more efficient to handle everything because it follows the MVT architecture model view template. That means it deals with the user UI screens also. But if you want a very real-time project that should work for the clients, definitely have to rely on the React or some other Angular and all, because those are very efficient nowadays in the market. Okay, so we can use the Python Django as the backend. The front end is these are the like React and all. So by using just Python with the Django also, we can develop the applications. That is only for like smaller websites or like simple websites we can build it. So when you are talking about the clients in the organizations, but when you are going to the market and bringing the projects, that where actually we need to be more cautious. Like front end frameworks are different, the back end framework is different. So Django is built for the back end framework mainly, but we can use it for the smaller applications as a front end both. Is it answered your question?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
Raja, what is the role of Python in mobile-based applications? I heard something related to my question, some answers I heard, but can we discuss or can you explain a little elaborate about this? What is the role of Python in mobile applications
Yeah. So
while developing with
that this is a question comes even recently when I am going through some of the articles from the one of the popular website. I was supposed to post that one, but I stopped it. This Facebook author like Van Rossum, like this guy is also saying that future will be mobile and networking. Future will be Python is going to be taken care, because right now what this the Python community is trying to, they are not developed anything so far, but they are working on something like this. No need of Android, no need of iOS. Directly you write Python code, it will work on the Android, it will work on the iOS. There is something is coming up, it is going to be change the world. So I read some articles. There is one startup community and they already built one of the platform. You just write a Python code, automatically it will create a application app. It can run on the Android and iOS. So to answer your question, so far it is not created any impact on the mobile technologies, because still it is not into that level. Yeah, I mean, even Python related things are not come up. Even there are few things are there which is really not creating any impact on the business. But Python community is strongly believing that there is something is going to come. So even I will post that article very soon after this session. Okay, yesterday I read in the one of the place. So they are saying that when you write a Python code which runs on the Android and iOS, this is something interesting. Even I am also surprised. Right now, Android is working on the JDK, like Java environment. But how is going to be taken? Because when I read in detail of this article, they are talking about something called C Python. Because of C Python is going to be work on the multiple operating systems. As you all know that the Python works with the different environments like C, Java, and also like .NET, and also we can integrate with the different languages, but we cannot do with the Java same as like what we do in the Python. So this is one of the thing which is interesting, but right now the Python is not that much efficient for the mobile technologies, because still it is, there is no such kind of frameworks we have it right now. Even one or two frameworks are there, but those are not sophisticated to the up to the mark. That's the reason everybody is going for the different frameworks. Like there are very popular frameworks we have it in the market. So that Flutter is one of the most popular framework nowadays. Everybody Java and but Python no actually.
So you meant to say, in case if Python is launching or if they are developing, what is the role of then iOS-based platform apps and Android-based apps? Like those guys, I mean, those applications or apps will be slowly they are going to demolish soon, or how it is going to impact the applications from iOS side or this one Android, and recently if you see there are a couple of other mobiles also, they're coming up with the different layers, different flavors of operating system. Let's say Google is coming with direct Android OS, and some of the mobiles, if you take, they are coming with their own flavored, like, if you what is it, add-on programs, I can say, similar to that, their own add-on programs to that. So when you say this particular Python program which can run on any platform, it is going to be a big impact on the business, right? From
It is
Apple
more,
or
instead of saying like that, it is more advantage to the Python developers. Okay, but
Hmm.
just I'm going to tell you one thing here. Google is always for Android. Google is always believing the Java is the right platform. That's the reason they actually bought the Flutter. Recently, they acquired the Flutter 2 years back. The Flutter is actually it is a class platform apps development application, like a framework. We can use mobile framework. So why they bought again Java based platform? Because they are actually relying on the Java. Okay, they believe that there is no any other language can support to build the Android applications, because Android OS is completely on the basis of Java. So recently they bought something framework called Flutter, which is also based on the Java only. Okay, so next point is, when the Python comes with this kind of frameworks, it is going to be impact, means not going to be impact anything on that layer, because end of the day you have to run on the Android OS and the operating system is same, but the application which you develop is in the Python, that is in the C Python, not directly on the Python. It is a C Python project which we can run on the Android. So impact in the businesses, and that we cannot tell right away, because only this is going to be used the Python developers. For example, there are developers from the like PHP, there are developers from the Java, there are developers from the Ruby on Rails, and Go language developers are there. Different developers are there, because if you take that portion, we have Python developers, we occupied only some portion of the technologies. Okay, so doesn't mean like that it's going to impact the business and all, but there will be a chances. For example, right now we are not building every application in the Python, right? We are building only the applications which are related to the artificial intelligence, DevOps, machine learning, and blockchain. These are the projects only we are taking up in the Python, not like everything. Not every enterprise application we are using the Python. So right, still Java is the source for the enterprise applications when you are building the banking applications and all. So yeah, impacting the business or impacting the mobile domain, we cannot say at this moment, because we do not have the concrete answer for this, because there is no any popular framework or popular what I can say, that libraries are available in the Python. So that is where actually we are actually hard. It will, we need to give some time. How it goes, basically we can check that point. Okay, so I will share some links on this. You'll get some idea, like, okay, how the mobile can be used in the Python and all. Okay, so any other questions, guys? It's been almost all 25 minutes, so let's quickly move on to the coding part, if no questions. Any questions? So let me go move on to the code. Okay, go ahead.
Raja, yeah, could you please give me overview about this session once again? The newcomers will join.
This session is all about like showcasing our Python skills. Okay, it's not just by me. Anybody who is having the ideas on the Python, you can share to the forum. Okay, so what kind of things we can do it? So what kind of things we can do it here? Like any project which you develop by your own, you can showcase here. Or you want to demonstrate some any kind of concept, you can demonstrate here every week. So that is what whole agenda here. Let's talk everybody here, share the ideas, exchange ideas. We can build some products here. So anyway, there is a one GitHub account which I already created. We can push the code and people can use that source code, and we will learn something practically. That is what I mean. There are so many WhatsApp groups are there in the world. There are so many websites are there. everybody is following the YouTube channels, everybody is, what is the next? That is what actually my worry is all about. It's not just Python I'm talking about. If you take Go language, any language which is going to be popular in the future, what would be the next? This is where we are learning the Python, what we can do it, how, what applications we are building up. If you see some of the Instagram and LinkedIn, even Twitter, there are so many people are building the applications. Okay, you may think like whatever I am posting is like some of the content may not be relevant to you, but just building the applications, like it won't give anything. So we need to build applications which can provide a solution to the business problems. So that's where we need to see. For example, I have 5 years of experience. How can I do with what can I do with in my organization? You already from the Java. So use Python kind of automation skills. Say to your manager, I'm going to build one application which using the Python, which is going to reduce the manpower, which is a better solution for the what we have in the right now. That's where you can create value for yourself, value for your project, and your manager also will think very right way you are moving ahead, and it will improve your skills, and also it is a value to the business and value to your company. So this is where we need to focus the point. Okay, why now even 10 years 15 years people are learning the technologies? Because they want to create a value in their organizations to learn the technologies. Similarly, this dev sprint also kind of like that. So globally we are going to connect here. So today is 10 people, tomorrow it will be 30 people, later it will be 100 people, or like we don't know what's going to happen, but we are today just started. I think it is the right time to start, because after the lockdown, I think definitely recruitment process is going to be changed, and that is everybody is going to feel it. Okay, guys, I'm actually onto the what I can say, that the 40 minutes of free Zoom meeting I'm using it. So maybe in after 5 minutes it's going to be closed by automatically, but you can reconnect it, not a problem. If you wish to reconnect, you can reconnect. I will reactivate this session, because I'm not using any premium session. It is my own Zoom account I'm using it. So it is only 40 minutes. 40 minutes is free. This is one thing I want to tell it. Okay, dev sprint is connecting the people here to share their ideas, share the knowledge. So this is the only first sprint. That's why reason I am talking a lot here. But going forward, I will invite some very experienced people in these technologies. Going forward in June, I am going to introduce the one of the DevOps uh, expert. Is going to share his ideas. You can ask the questions and all. So he is available in the June first week. So I'm going to invite him for the DevOps questions and all. Like that, I will invite AI engineers. You can also showcase your products. Okay, even small problems also better to showcase. Okay, even small snake problem you are building, do it. Something linear search you are doing it, showcase, not a problem. This is just a learning time. This is just learning the basics also, not only just like big projects. So I want all you to be contribute here. That's where you will improve yourself. Because do you know one thing, I'm posting many things here, I'm talking this one now, it is really helping me a lot. I'm improving my communication skills, I'm improving my technical skills, I'm improving like how to answer the any tough questions comes in between. Same way you can also do from your end. Okay, when you start doing something like this, so what you can do, right, you can create your own projects and showcase your project to the forum. Let them ask the questions, you face the questions and try to give an answers. If something which is you feel like tough, and go do the research and all. This way you can improve the things. Okay, I think this is going to be like this will give the experience like this, because this is how we can improve the skills nowadays. Everybody is building their own portfolios. If you go look at these JavaScript developers in the world, they are building the portfolios like anything. Okay, for example, you want to become a good DevOps engineer, build GitHub link, build LinkedIn profile, create your own blog, and create your own YouTube channel, create your own websites. This where is actually you are creating the impact. This is how you can build your portfolio. Because you are in IT, you can do this much only. What we can else do? We are not like a like a mechanic, you are not like a different guy, right? We are all in the IT. We can build our portfolios like this. So this is what I want to tell here. Building the portfolio will give more value. So this is what I am doing it. So I'm recommend you to also do it the same thing. Okay. So any questions, guys? So I'm going to jump into the programming. If something is stopped in between, you can join back again, not a problem. So already I opened the VS Code here. So I'm using the Visual Studio Code to show the one of the demonstration. So if something is disconnected, you can join back. That's not an issue. So what is the program I'm going to talk about today? It is very simple. I have the Clear Tax website. So there is a Clear Tax website. We see the GST number. Okay. Let me go to the here. So I'm going to open now Clear Tax website. Let me see this. So this is a Clear Tax website. Here there is a GST number is there. Okay. So in this GST number, what I'm going to do, right? I will enter some GST number that will give the results. So right now it's manually I'm entering the GST number. So what I'm going to do, right? Instead of entering the GST number myself, I will write a program. It will directly enter it will go to this website first and directly it will enter the number, GST number. It will fetch the results. Then the results will be shown. For example, here my GST number, some dummy GST number I have taken. I'm going to enter this GST number. I'm clicking on the search. There is some information coming here. Okay. Some company information is there, whatever it is. Just leave it about this data. So the problem which I'm going to solve here, I'm going to write a program which is going to call this website directly. And second thing is it will search this GST number here and it will produce the results like this. But these results I want in this CSV file. This is what the concept is. Okay. I'll write a program. Automatically it will call this website. It will go to the GST number. It will search the GST number. When there is a results, that results will fetch into the any CSV file or Excel file, PDF file, text file, whatever you want to write it. So for this, what are the tools which I'm going to use? I'm going to use something called Selenium. Selenium, which is the best tool for the automation and testing. But I'm not using for the testing here, just for the automation purpose. And the second thing is the Beautiful Soup. Beautiful Soup is going to be used for the web scraping. What is a web scraping? I will tell you. For example, in this website, I have this data. What is this data? Why this is the only the data will go to this page? How we can do it? For this, we have to use the web scraping. So web scraping is nothing but like it will go to the each and every element of your page. It will pull the details. Okay. And web scraping is not completely legal. So it is, you have to look at the websites, which are the websites are allowed to do the web scraping. Not every website is allow you to do the web scraping. One of the best example, if you see airlines, when you are going to book the ticket, you can compare the multiple tickets, right? From the like what like Air Asia and one is from the Indigo. You can compare. There is some websites is there to compare the fare like one to one. How they are bringing these prices from the different websites. The concept is called the web scraping and also web socketing. There are two things where we can say web socketing and web scraping. These are the terminology we can achieve by using the Python. So one of the most popular what I can say that module is called the Beautiful Soup. And also there are many are there, even Scrapy is also there, but I'm not using the Scrapy here. It will take some time to understand much better. So let's continue the programming here. I already created one virtual environment called the Dev Sprint. Okay. So this is the Dev Sprint which I created. In the virtual environment, I'm not installed anything. So I'm going to install the Beautiful Soup 4. Let me try to install it here. Sorry, Control C, because I'm using the here Python 3. I want to use it because I have two versions in my local. So I'm going for the Python 3. Okay, it is already satisfied. So by default, it is installed in that one only. So pip3 installed. Then I'm going for the Selenium because I'm installing these tools in my virtual environment. It is already not there. I'm installing it now. Okay, perfectly all right. This is installation is fine. Two softwares I installed. It is two libraries already I installed, and another one is called the Chrome driver. The Chrome driver is like which browser I want to call automatically. Is it the Chrome? Is it the Firefox? Is it the Safari? Is it the something called Internet Explorer? That's something we can decide by yourself. So most of the developers use the Firefox and Chrome because these are the main web developer, what I can say, that web developer browsers. Okay. So let me write a programming here. I'm going to start now. You can understand what I'm going to do here. Okay. So this is nothing but automation project. So automation, the clear tags. So I'm just writing like this. I'm creating the Python file. So let's get started here. So here we are going to use the three things. So first thing is BS4, that's called Beautiful Soup 4 for the scraping. And the next one is, am I audible, guys? Can you someone confirm?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, fine. So next one is the, I'm going to use something called Selenium here. So Selenium is also going to be used for the automation purpose. First one is for the scraping. Next one is the automation. And the last one, I want CSV. Okay, I want to export the data into the CSV file. This is what the whole concept now. Okay, so let's get started. So we need these libraries to begin with this. So it's a very simple code I'm going to write. So let's get started now. So first one is BS4. I want to import the BS4. So BS4 is actually a Beautiful Soup 4. From this, we have one class called the Beautiful Soup. Okay, so Beautiful Soup is actually a class name which is there in the BS4 module. Similarly, I'm going to take now import. So CSV I want. So I will push the code into the CSV file, and CSV is already there by default in the Python. You don't need to install this separately. And also we have something called Selenium. So right now I install the Selenium. So that's why reason I got here Selenium. So from Selenium you can import, then we use the WebDriver. This WebDriver, whether it is already I installed the WebDriver from the internet, you can also go and search in the Google, like Chrome WebDriver, like we can say that Firefox WebDriver, any WebDriver you can install and bring into your where you are writing the code. Okay,
That is through pip install only, right, Raja?
WebDriver is not
Drive.
pip install. It is like a file which you can take it from the. It is a separate file, not install. So Chrome driver is not a pip install. We can directly take it from. Just type in Google. It is
Okay, thank you.
Java Selenium also, Python Selenium also, we can use it. Okay. Next, moving to the, I want to use in the Python in the Selenium, there is one more thing is there. So in the WebDriver, already WebDriver is there. In the WebDriver, I want to use something called keys. By using these keys only, automatically I will enter my data into the text field. So import, then take the keys. Okay, it is a uppercase letter keys is, so not a smaller case. Smaller case is the module name and like whatever we use. Now I'm using the uppercase now. Okay, moving on to the next one. So let's write the programming here. I'm going to take the driver. The driver is equal to, then WebDriver, we already have it here. So we already imported the WebDriver. So this WebDriver dot, then I'm going to use the Chrome. If you want to use the Chrome, you can use. If you want to use the Firefox, we can use. Like that, we can use the any browser. It is available directly. So right now I'm using the Chrome. So Chrome I'm going to use. In this Chrome, we are going to give the path of your driver. So just right click on this, copy the complete path or relevant relative path. Any path is fine now. Okay, just I'm copying the complete path. I'm storing it like this. Okay, that means first I'm loading the driver here, and the second thing is what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to get the information. Okay, for example, this information driver dot, then get what I'm going to get here. I'm going to get the URL name. So let's give this URL name. This is a clear tags search. So whichever the URL you want to navigate from this browser, first you invoke the browser, next one go to the link. Step 2 is done. We'll go to the website. After that, what we need to do in the website? That is the question, right? So in this website, we are going to directly to the finding the element here. So for example, you can check here, this is the search bar. So instead of using the Safari, I will go to the Google Chrome, and I will use this Google Chrome very much better because you can easily inspect the elements in the Google Chrome. So instead of it is actually a developer tool. Google Chrome is actually a developer tool. Now I'm opening it. So you can just inspect this. So then we'll get the which element we are using. Like that we can do any project, guys. So this is the one. So I'm going to the right now. Okay, so let me search here. You can also inspect again. I'm going to now inspecting this. So yeah, GST number search tool is there. Next one is the due tag. It is actually input tag. So I have something called input ID is equal to GSTN. There actually we are placing the data. So what we can do, next one is the search bar. Okay, next one is the search button, and before that we have the input field called the this one. So here I'm going to take the ID is called GST in. So for that, so what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to write a code here. It is called the automation way I'm going to do. I will use the driver dot. So find element, you can see here, find element by ID, find element by name, find element by export. The different names are there. But when you look at this code, sorry, when you look at this code, we have the ID is equal to GSTN. So I'm going to take the ID. You can also take the class. We can also take the name also, fine. Anything which you prefer. Most of the times ID we will take, it will be always unique. Okay, I'm taking the ID here. I'm just copying that GST in. So is it correct, right? Yeah, GST in, just like GST India number. So that's why they're given the name like this. So I'm going to give the name here something like GST. Can you go someone on mute? There's so much noise, guys. Please go on mute. Okay, so I'm able to read now GST number. For example, when you read immediately, you might be entered some data here. Okay, you want to clear the data faster. We don't know, sometimes the data will be there. First we need to clear if there is any data. For that, what I'm going to do, GST var dot clear. Okay, very simple. So this means I'm able to go and enter the directly ID. So in that I need to pass the value. So GST var dot send keys. Okay, we can use the send keys. So send keys is there. In the send keys we can pass the value. What value we can pass? We can pass the GST number. This is my search bar. Here we have the search data, form data. I'm going to pass the send key. What is the send key here? In the content we have the we already taken. This is the GST number. I will go back to this. I will put this key right now. This, so send keys are there. Okay, next, after that, what is going to happen? First, let me remove this source code, this line. Let me run this code. How you are going to see the output? I'm running the output now. See, now it is going to the Google Chrome automatically, and it is going to the website which you are given the link. Okay, we are able to achieve the 2 points. We are calling the Chrome browser, and second thing is we are able to see uh, the link which we are opening up. Okay, 2 steps is done. And the third step, anyway, we already done. We are going to enter this send key. That's called the, directly it will go to this element ID GST in. There we are going to enter the just GST number. So in the GST number, so let's see this. I'm going to run again this. What is going to happen? You see, the GST number is entered here. Okay, so we are able to see the GST number here also. But thing is, we need to click the search button. That is step we are not done. So I'm going to inspect the search. Let me take the ID of the search here. So let me go to this. This is a search bar, right? I'm going to inspect the search. Already it is there. So now I'm going to take the ID is the GST detail, because this is the ID is the unique. So when I'm going to click that information, that will go to that. So now GST var. So what I can take now. So I will go to the now directly element by ID of the GST detail. So instead of GST var, I can say that it is a GST detail or like search icon, whatever information you can put. So we can use the driver, same code I'm writing, driver dot find element by ID. In the ID I already taken the ID name. ID name is this one. Sorry. Okay, GST detail is there. Now I have the GST detail also. Next step is what? So when you are going to this website, this element, immediate step I want to do is the click. So GST detail dot click. There is a click function is available in the Selenium. You have to go and click this link automatically. When you click this link, you will get the details. Okay. So but this data will go to the directly to the form. So for that we are going to use one more step called the GST detail send keys. Okay, we can use the send keys, send underscore keys. We can use in that we can pass the capital key. We already using the keys here, the keys dot return. So what is the purpose of this? This will give you the information to the saying that action to be performed. So automatically action will perform. So RETURN. Okay, so this is the one, capital one. Okay, this means we are done with this step also. Let me run this code and we see what is going to happen here. Okay, I'm going to run now. See that it is entering the GST number. We got the results also. Look at this. Do you see? Am I entered this one? Automatically this data is coming. Any GST number you give, automatically when I run my programming code, my GST number is passing to this, then it is fetching the details. I'm able to see the details here, right? Now my next aim is I want to bring this GST number or like taxpayer type any information to the my CSV file. Maybe this kind of work you might be doing in your projects. You may think like how to apply this problem, this solution to the problems which you have in your current projects. Okay, now right now I'm entering the GST number. This GST number is fetching these details automatically. So that means we are done with the automation. Okay, first step is automation is done. So first we are achieving the automation. So next I'm going to do the scraping. Scraping is for what, you know, we want the data from the that web page to the any page, like in the console you can display, or else we can display in the anywhere you want. Okay. Okay, now, so what is the next step? I'm going to use the, now, so far I used only the Selenium. These are all the source code which I used only Selenium. Now I'm going to use the Beautiful Soup. Okay, to use the Beautiful Soup, here one point is there. We are going to use this driver only. This driver is there. This driver is actually we use at the Selenium driver dot page source. This is the page source we are going to give. Just simply, this is not even a function. We can keep it in the response. I'm going to take it here. This is a response because all the data will be there in the page source. Right now, whatever you done the automation code that is there on the page source on the driver level, the driver entire code you are giving to the response. For example, if I want to print this, how can I print? So this response code, I will give it to the Beautiful Soup. The Beautiful Soup will print this data. So let me show you this. You may feel like this is a weird, but I'm giving an idea how we can do the automation projects. Okay. Just get the idea about the project, nothing more than this. So response comma, and I'm using the LXML. So don't confuse this. So I'm passing the response, this entire data, whatever we have done the automation that we are giving to the response. And LXML is nothing but it's a technique how you can show the data. So we can use the HTML, we can use the LXML, any data. This we can talk later when you have any doubts later we can talk. So this data is basically like right now it's called completely about soup, which is a soup object. So right now it's a soup. I'm going to print this soup, very simple. So print off. So to print this soup, we have the soup dot and prettify. Okay, we can use the many functions. Prettify will show very nice way the code. I'm going to run this code. So very simple. Whatever we have done the source code for the Selenium automation, the same code I'm assigning to the driver. The driver will give it to the Beautiful Soup. The Beautiful Soup is going to print the data. Let me run this code. I'm executing the code now. It will take to the Google Chrome, obviously, and it will go to the GST number. It will search the GST number here. Let's wait for this. Yeah, it is entering the GST number. It fetched the details. You can see it is highlighted also. You clicked on the search button. This data came. But we'll look at the source code here. What is the issue? LXML, do you want to install the parser library? Okay. So in this case, we need to install this parser, pip install LXML. I'm installing the parser now. Okay, now it is successfully installed. I'm going to execute the code again because it is required the LXML. LXML is a separate package. We need it. I'm installing it just now. Again, I'm entering the GST number. You see the GST result here. And also you can see the entire HTML page. You can see guys, entire HTML page, we are able to get it, right? So this is called scraping. How it is possible? There is someone's website code. I'm using my Python code. I'm able to get entire code. Now, by using this, I can go to the specific element. I'll get the data. I will push it to the CSV file. Next is that one only. Okay. So this one, I don't want to print every time. I'm just keeping in the comment because that will give you the neat and information. Okay. Right now, by using this soup, there is a function called find. I'm going to use the find method here. Then I will pass some information. The find anyway, I will go to this. Here, I want this GST number to be printed, right? So I will use the inspect of this. I'll get the what is the GST number which is using here. Let me go to this. Okay. I think we are opening in the Chrome. This is not the way. I'm going to open in the actual Chrome browser, not on the automation browser. So here we have the, okay. So I'm going to give some details here. Okay. Something, let the GST number. Let me give the GST number here. Then only we can do the scraping. So let me search here. I'll get the some table. In the table only I'm going to inspect. In this inspect, I have the ID. Again, they are giving the ID is the GST in only. Okay. This is the GST in we are going to get from this. We'll see that how we can get this. So soup.find, find is actually a method. It will go and search wherever there is an ID with this GST number, then it will fetch the data. So I'm going to give here ID is equal to in the single quotes or double quotes, whatever the way you do in the normal in the coding, we can give that. So now this is called the GST number. I can print this GST number anywhere I want. I can put this GST number now to the anywhere, to the PDF, to CSV, any file I can do it. So this is how I got the CSV number. Similarly, I can get also this type. Okay, where we have taxpayer type. So I'm going to take the taxpayer type. Yeah, this taxpayer type is there. This is also we can take. So how we can take this taxpayer type? There is ID called type. So which I'm going to pass this. Same code you can copy paste here because we need a copy. Now soup.find ID is equal to. So this is nothing but ID here. We are going to take the ID is the type. This is called scraping. Okay, beautiful soup scraping. We are going to use it. Then finally, what we can do? This is taxpayer data. Fine. I have the GST number now. I have the taxpayer. I want to push this one to the CSV file. How we can write CSV file? So very simple, right? So we are going to use this data. We can keep this information into the list and also we can send it like that. Okay. I'm going to open this one with open. So to open this CSV file, I'm going to open this file here. So here directly the file will be created. I am saying that it is clear tax data dot CSV. I'm going to give the name like this, and it should be open in the W mode. That's called write mode. Read mode, write mode will be there. Then we can use. Then I am saying that this is called GST underscore file. I'm giving the alias name for the file. It is an optional. It is not required always to write it. So next one is we have here alias name called the we can use this CSV. So CSV is there already. We imported CSV dot writer. So we can use the writer function. There we can pass the entire GST file. Okay. So this GST file, I'm going to pass it to this writer. And what information we can pass, we can discuss now. So this is called the writer, C writer. I can say that small letter I will do. It's called CSV writer, C writer. We are going to done this program. Almost all we are done. So this cwriter dot, we can give write row. I want to write the data. So write row is the function, we can pass this. But instead of passing this one by one, what I will take, right? I will take one list. I will say that this is called CSV underscore input data, is equal to, then we can keep this one entire thing in the, okay. So this GST number, and we want only text, otherwise it will print entire element, okay. So I want the text, I will put the txt, and also I want the taxpayer data. So this taxpayer data also I will use it for the something called text, okay, simply. So what will happen, I will use the print statements and I will show you that what code is there inside this GST number. It is completely HTML data. So element data is there. If you want only the text data, then you can use dot text method. So print statement, again, I'm using the print statement to show you the data, how it looks. And the last one is the taxpayer data. So this is the final code, we are done. Let's see that output, how is going to work. Okay, control save. I'm clearing the data here, everything. So clear this. So I'm going to run the program again. Now it's going to the Google Chrome browser, and let's see that. So it's going to be entered the GST number. Let's wait for that. It entered the GST number and it pulled the data, because automatically this is not scrolling down. That is also we can do it, but I'm not investing time on the automatic scroll down. But we got the output, and okay, yeah, we got one issue also. Do you see any data? No, because we got some issue here. The issue is like saying that write row takes exactly one argument. Yeah, but thing is we are not passed this data to this. We created, but we did not pass this one. But now we can show this one. So that's a problem. We created the data which is not passing to this. That's the reason I'm going to run it again. So previously we are not passed the data. Now we actually pass the data to the CSV file. So after the fixing the issue, we are running it again. You can see in the search bar. So then go to this. Yeah. So this is how my print statements are printing here. You can see at line number 26 and 27, we written the, line number 28, 29, we have written the print statements. So it's printing the data, but I want only this text data. So that text data one I have taken into the list, that list which I am passing to the writer row. Let's see this, whether this data, yeah, absolutely we got the data. We got this data. Similarly, we can write the code for the bigger projects. I'm taking very simple example to how to pull the data from the internet. You see, this code is actually doing everything for you. It is going to the website, it's going to the field, it is searching the field automatically, it's pulling the data and storing into the CSV file. Everything is doing automatically, right? And you can ask me the question, I want to run this code every day in the morning 10 o'clock. How we can do it? For that, we need to schedule that. We need to go for the schedulers. There are so many Python schedulers are there. I will discuss those Python schedulers maybe in the future. Example, RabbitMQ, and which is very popular nowadays. We can also use something called Celery. We have something called Reddit. Many tools we have it. We can use that. We can make it this one automatic. Right now, I am executing this one manually. This is also we can make it as automatically. This is how it works. Yeah, this is very sample code which I took to give an idea how automations works. People are talking Python automation, right? How these automation projects works. This is a very simple automation plus web scraping project which I took and give us a little demonstration. Hope you understand. Do you have any questions, guys, before going to stop this session?
The page element search you did, right? Can you explain how you did that element search on the page side and the internet side?
So we'll go to the any browser. Oh, sorry, we'll open any browser, but prefer to use the Firefox or Chrome. And for example, you go to the any website. For example, this website only you take. I want to go to the I want to go to the, for example, your email. This email I want to enter email automatically. So I will go to this. I will right click on here. Just go to the inspect. There is an inspect here option. just click on the inspect, and it will take you that directly where you are there. I mean, let me ping this, just go to, still if you are not clear with this, again go to the small browser, small window, just again click the inspect. You are already on the same thing. Okay, so in this
Yeah. Okay.
in the div tag, so again we have something called sign up with the Google. So this is the sign up with the Google is there, and on top of it only we have here one more hashtag, start with your trial and all is there. So let's like that we can go to the each and every id, you can see the block content,
Okay.
and we'll go to, so basically we do the inspecting the elements. This is how actually testing, automation testing guys, like web scraping guys will do generally. So inspect is option is available for any browser, not only Chrome. Inspect is there for the Firefox, Opera, even for the Internet Explorer. Everywhere we have it, we can use it directly. Okay. So this is
Okay.
simple program which I demonstrated, give an idea. Okay, I'm not saying that here you know the beautiful soup, and it's not like that. Like how we can do, there is something is there in the Python which we are discussing now. Beautiful soup. There is something called Selenium. In the Python we can use it and all. Any questions, guys? I hope this is giving some idea to you. I'm trying my best to give some information to you all. Okay, you are also doing any projects from your end, you can share with that. Going forward, I will talk about DevOps projects. I will talk about AI projects. So because I am very good in that areas. So web scraping also, if you want, I will talk much. We'll see that. Okay, how we can do it. So if anyone is interested to give your demonstration, I mean, you have any project, even simple code is also fine. Any small presentation also fine. If you are ready, and you can ping me at least 2 to 3 days before, we will plan accordingly and will give the one good demonstration to the audience. Okay. So today it is a very less audience. Example, we are very small group, but I am sure that continuously when you put effort, it's going to be huge group and will share the knowledge widely. So next week I am going to come up with a very good content. I will share the white papers and all. I'll create a repository and share with you all. Okay. So basic motto behind this one is I'm want to connect with the people all over the globe and sharing the ideas, sharing the knowledge and all. This is my interest, my hobby. This is where I am here. Nothing else. Any questions, guys, from anyone? Any discussions? If you want to share some ideas, also we can share it before going to close this. Any suggestions from your end? Any ideas? Can you please open and talk here?
See, one thing actually I would like to suggest, instead of going to multiple topics on the same time, let us focus on a particular subject or a particular topic to discuss. Like you started with multiple things, and we started some coding also. Coding, this is a practical thing. It's a different way. When
Right.
you start, if you put one particular specific topic, so that we will have a lot of doubts on that, and we can also discuss on that point.
Yeah, definitely. See, as I said, going
Yeah.
forward, it will be like a maximum 45 minutes session only. But today, to
Hmm.
create, because I need to give some introduction and I need to showcase some demonstration, because everybody will think like, okay, only just for talk, why we need to come to this forum. So that's the reason I am keeping in mind giving some demonstration. Okay. So going forward, it will be demonstrations only. We'll talk more practical things, but only one practical thing for 1 week. No need of burden because it is a Sunday. We are at we have the families who will spend some time. Okay, only for 45 minutes we are going to spend some time on our skills. Okay, so yeah, definitely only one topic which is very clear.
Maybe another suggestion, in case if you give a notification prior to, like 2 or 3 days, or even the next week's topic, if you publish now or 2 days, 3 days before also, probably the members, they will be going through that, and if they got any doubt, they may discuss more on that point when
Yeah,
we start the schedule. Yeah.
this is interesting. This is interesting. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is going to be done because I am actually expecting the more people to be contribute here. Okay, even you also learning something. Some other people are learning something. Your learnings also, even it is a very simple. Okay, just like a PPT also we can present here. Any presentation is enough, but only like sharing the knowledge is the main motto here. And people don't know this. Yeah. Fine, guys.
So yes, thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody think if you want to share? Because I want you to speak with your own ideas. That's where actually. Okay. Fine. If no ideas, no nothing, we can catch up in the next dev sprint in the next week. So I want, because see, this is the forum you can build your own portfolio. Okay. And this is where actually we'll engage with the different kind of people, because some people working from the different MNCs here. We don't know, different people are here, different experiences we have it. Freshers are there, experienced people are there. Someone is from the different domains. Some people come from the Java, some are from the C++. When you meet like this with the different mindsets, different ideas, then we'll give some interesting points. Okay, that will create some value in our current organizations, what best we can do it. So that's it, very simple funda. Okay. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining the session. And I think
Yep.
it is a little helpful to you. This is what I meant for it. I really appreciate your time for today to joining the session. Thank you so much. I'll catch up in the next session. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raja.
Thank you, Raja.